Shoot that thing!
And we're back with the final Aliens game we'll be taking a look at, which is actually the original Aliens game. Alien vs. Predator. Not the original Aliens game. It's the original Alien vs. Predator game. What am I talking about? There was stuff before this. There was like an MSX game even. There were a bunch of games before this. This is one of Rebellion's first games though, which they made that first game we played. So they came around full circle on this. They started it and then they ran it into the ground. So good on them. This is for the Atari Jaguar. Some people say this is the only good game on the Atari Jaguar, only good original game. It's not a very good game, though. In fact, it might be one of the worst games. It might be one of the worst 2.5D FPSs ever made. People who say this game is good, apparently they suffer from some sort of Stockholm syndrome for a console and a company who put out shit. Which is to say, Atari Jaguar and Rebellion. This is as much preface as we get for the story, I believe. For those of you watching in the stream, you're looking at the controller that was packaged in with this system. I'll put up a little screen for people watching at home, watching on the YouTube front. So, the thing about the Atari 26, I almost said Atari 2600. The thing about the Atari Jaguar controller is that it has a built-in numpad, as well as your D-pad and your 3 function keys, which makes the actual controller itself a fucking nightmare. Barely controls. It's also a huge piece of shit, so it's hard to wrap your hands around it. Not very comfortable. I played this on a fucking Atari Jaguar. I did not own the Atari Jaguar. Thank God for that. That would have been money wasted. Money well wasted. I had a friend who owned an Atari Jaguar who had wasted his money on it instead. Or his parents' money. Semantics. And I played this in person. I played this live. It was like a fucking nightmare. By this point, I had already been playing plenty of Doom. Had been pretty heavily invested in that scene. I knew what good games looked like. I think it was like 97, 98, mind you, so it wasn't even 94. But, you know, 94, Doom was out by this point. Doom 2, I think, was out by this point as well. So even by those standards, this looks like complete fucking garbage. It's more akin to Wolfenstein 3D. But, people pointing out in the chat that that I in Alien is not particularly well defined. Kind of looks like an O. Like a misspelling of alone. Yes. And you can notice like the tiniest little trademark next to it. Like the tiniest, most compressed little trademark next to the word alien. And same thing with... Actually, no, not the same thing with Predator. Unless that's supposed to be... No, I think that's not the same thing with Predator. Predator's not trademarked. You can use that. Do with it what you will. Colonial Marines, free to use too. But don't you fucking think about using the word alien. That's trademarked. People in the chat pointing out that this game is considered a cult classic by some. Yes, those people are weird cultists. They have drank too much of the punch. This is not a good game. I'll show you. Allow me to demonstrate how this is not a good game by playing it for you. Small note, the emulation on this emulator isn't perfect. The frame rate is maybe not representative of the actual console frame rate, but it's not great on the consoles either. And here we are. This is our heads-up display. We can't turn it off. Some of you may be saying, that's a little intrusive. Yeah! Yeah, it is! This is us turning around. This is... I don't know what this is. I guess it's a stasis chamber, if you can just barely make out from the 16 pixels they had to stretch to fit that font into. You'll notice these wall textures, and these ceilings and floors. Get used to them, because we're going to be seeing a lot of them.
What on earth got a hold of this guy?
go. Holy wow. Holy moly. So I wonder what got a hold of that guy, huh? It's going to remain a mystery forever. We'll never get answers. Never have any closure on that. You know, I think the enemies in this game may be randomly placed, which is just an interesting note. Because I remember when I was testing this before the stream, there was an alien in this room, and now there's not. So this turn speed is fucking ridiculous. This isn't slowed down, by the way. This is just lost frames, I think. I could be wrong about that. Like I said, it's been a while since I played this on an actual Atari Jaguar. Sad to say. But oh Christ, these textures, huh? Basically, every level is set up like a maze. Which, when all your walls and ceilings and floors look the same and there are no levels, there's no when there's no like ramps or anything, when it's just all a flat surface, you're gonna get lost in this game. Like a lot. Like constantly. Like you'll never not be lost, basically. That's the problem I've had with this game. Hoping we can find an alien somewhere around here. I get that they're randomly generated, but there's gotta be someone close by. I mentioned that Rebellion actually made this. That Rebellion is one of their first game credits, actually, or one of their first recognized ones. And they were somehow allowed to keep making games after this. Like, I look at this, and this is supposed to be like the best the Atari Jaguar has to offer. That's what some people say. And it's worse than Wolfenstein 3D. Like, it doesn't even meet the standards of the first 2.5D FPS. Or not the first, there's Catacombs 3D, but that's a really semantic bullshit historical argument for some nerds to have that are not me. I will not sit here and try to school you guys on FPS history. Glad I can help. You know, I think this game might be running a little slower than it should be. I think it isn't just dropped frames. I'm looking up or down, so I can't get a great look at this guy. Well, hello there. I think that's going to be an alien. Oh. Two of them, even. My shotgun's not, oh, it's an automatic. You hold it down to get to continually fire. If you tap it, it's not going to fire. I'm actually tapping the button right now, and yep, you have to keep tapping it to even get it to shoot once, but if you hold it down, it becomes like a fully automatic. Well, I mean, you're pumping it, but like in terms of gameplay mechanics, it is fully automatic. The xenomorphs don't make any noise in this game. In fact, none of the people who walk in this game, no enemies make noises in this game. Which means that they will constantly just drop in behind you, claw you to death, and as you can see, it takes like an hour to turn around. So by the time you recognize that you're getting clawed in the back and actually turn around to shoot them, they'll have taken off like half your health. Which is not a good mechanic. That's not... And the great part about it is that people who like to defend this game, who like to sit down and say that this game has like any fucking like merit to it whatsoever, like to say, oh, it makes it scarier. And it's like, tension, man. Don't you get it, dummy? It's scary. Because you don't know they're coming for you. No, that's just bad design. That's just terrible design. Just waiting patiently for me on the other side. And yes, the acid does hurt you. There we are. Aptly demonstrated. Oh my god, that weapon sway. I get that this is partially emulation to blame, but come on. Oh. See, the only sound they make is when they attack you, and when they die. Someone from the chat is saying, what did they just hear? They thought they had heard some footsteps sounds, maybe, but no. Those are the only sound effects in the game besides firing your gun and maybe opening doors. There should be some more aliens in here, actually. It's quiet. Too quiet. This game needs music, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like... This game needs music. I mean, that's what this game needed, something besides just this weird ambient track. I don't care what kind of tension you're going for. I don't care if you're trying to make your game scary. This is bullshit. Which version of Doom was it? I should be the Doom aficionado. I should know this offhand. Which version of Doom was it that didn't have any music whatsoever? Was it the Atari Jaguar version? Where they dedicated the processor, the sound chip, to just rendering the graphics instead? Which, by the way, Doom is on the Atari Jaguar. So, I mean, like, I was mentioning comparing this game to Doom before. Doom is on this console. So once you have that as a comparison, once you have that as a point of reference, how can you even play this? How can you even look at this and think this is, like, close to acceptable? Even by the standards of this garbage console that no one wanted to play on. That no one wanted to support. Is that our pulse rifle? No, it's just a corpse again. Oh, see? He got the drop on us. See, I didn't hear him fucking sneak up on us, and now that med kit has been basically... Oh, now there's 4 of them. Wow. Oh, don't worry, guys. It was just a simulation. No harm done. We're okay. So that was the Marine portion of the campaign. We didn't even make it onto the high score list. I'm so disappointed in myself. Let's get back to that main menu. That's as much Marine as I'm going to play. Let's move on to the Alien. Why don't we? Which I think we have some great textures in store for this one, if memory serves. Also, no wall crawling in this one, because that would be... How would they have known to do that back then? How would they have been able to program that into this game? This game barely works. It's like the 2.5D FPS and stuff, it barely works, so how could they even think to program like wall climbing and stuff? So it basically becomes just the Marine minus guns. Oh, and here we are, spawning directly next to enemies who already want to kill us. The movement speed's a bit quicker here, luckily. And yeah, so we are left only with melee options and slightly higher run speed. From what I remember, this is the hardest one to play because, hey, like I just said, no ranged weapons, only melee. Also, for some reason, there is strafing in this game, but the control for it is different. Whereas with the Marine, you held down the A key on the Jaguar controller. This one, A is another attack, so it's the select key, which is just even less convenient for your strafing needs. You can also just constantly be attacking, which, let's go ahead and do that then. Come on, someone's gonna walk into my mouth eventually. Man, I want to show H.R. Giger this game. I want to show him what they did with his art, just to show him, like, hey, remember those textures you made, all those designs you did? All those pieces of art you produced? Check it out. We stretched them across this level and this made an entire room out of them. What do you think? Looks great, right? What a fucking nightmare. Okay, so let's open this door. Oh, we're out of texture hell. And back into texture purgatory. See, it's a step above. It's slightly better. Or maybe it's just different levels of hell. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, close the door on him. Or maybe just kill him. The mouth is a one-hit kill. Or closest to it, anyway. The claw here barely does any damage. And I think the tail is mostly useless as well. Basically, why would you use anything other than the bites? In other words, why even put them in the game? Besides for some fake variety. And how is the alien, like, I get it, the aliens are smart, but how are they gonna know about, like, the mechanics of pressure locks and all that shit? I don't care how clever these clever girls are. Let's try some of the other weapons. See, that's a 2-hit kill right there. And we'll try the claw in a minute. Oh, more textures for us to enjoy. Look, this is the same texture for the ceiling, the floor, and the walls. Imagine an entire hallway made out of this. You don't have to imagine it. It's going to be here later in the game. We won't play up until that point, but... You know, I was mentioning Doom before. I was mentioning Doom, and how I was into it back in the day. I was actually playing Doom back in, like, in 93, 94. One of the first games I really played. That's what I grew up on. And I was savvy enough to know about, like, you know, stuff like the Alien Total Conversion, which for those of you kiddies out there, Total Conversion is when you take a game and you totally convert it into something else by swapping out, like, literally every texture in the game. And there was a pretty popular one for Doom called the Alien Total Conversion, and it was fucking cool because it was like a whole new level set. It was a whole bunch of new levels with some alien-esque textures and enemies that were aliens, replacing all the stuff from Doom. And that was great. Why didn't they just port this to console somehow? Why didn't they just find a way to port that to the Jaguar, clear some licenses or whatever? I mean, they got the license for this. We're fighting 4 Marines at once here. This isn't going to go well. Or will it? Thanks to our mouth attack. Wow. Some well-trained Marines there. They all die the same. Anyway, check out the Alien Total Conversions for Doom. Albeit you don't play as the alien in it, you play as a Marine fighting aliens. But, you know, it's a cool thing. It's a nice thing that exists. That is way better than this is. It was a nice fan-made thing, which is infinitely more interesting than this is. Also, I think the Marines are the only enemies in this campaign, besides maybe a Predator. I don't think there's any other, like, more advanced Marines or anything of that sort. That will just be fighting that guy for the entire game. Just like how you'll be fighting aliens, the same alien model for the entire game. If you play as a Marine. Mixed with maybe a few Predators as well. I'm trying to remember how this game is structured. Oh, I'm just navigating rooms here. I have no idea where the fuck I'm going. There should be an auto map button on one of these numpad keys. Ah, there we go. Crystal clear. That really cleared things up for me. Now I know where I'm going. Thanks, map. It's right there in the center of the screen. Love this heads-up display. It's great. It's perfect. Don't see how they could have improved on this at all. Let's turn that off. Yeah, so I have no idea where the fuck I am. That's what happens when you make all your walls and floors and everything basically the same when your rooms are all completely flat. That's a problem I have with Wolfenstein 3D as well, except that game actually has, you know, something going for it. At least it was like an innovator. At least it ran at like an acceptable frame rate. It had acceptable controls. Man. You know, at this point, let's just find someone to kill us. Let's just find someone to kill so we can show off the Predator and be done with this fucking thing. Hey, buddy. Please kill me. Oh my god, even when I let them kill us, they're incompetent. Jesus. That was another simulation, by the way. These are all just simulations. Nothing actually happening. So that way it doesn't have to be canon or anything. You don't have to worry about adhering to any sort of story. Okay. So that was the alien. Let's move on to the Predator then. Predator's got a mean-looking spear here. So let's get into that. That should be the key for that. From the chat, Hopperu saying, our Marines should know how to be aliens. Yes. Why else would they have the simulations for it? If you want to kill those aliens, you gotta think like an alien. You want to kill the Predator, you gotta think like a Predator. You want to be a Marine, you gotta think like a Marine. We're gonna play as the Predator now. Our mission objective is to claim the skull of the alien queen. And the interesting thing about this little campaign, if you want to call it that, is that you don't just pick up weapons, you unlock them by gaining honor. So theoretically, you're holding on to all your weapons from the start here. Oh, and of course they spawn us right in the spot where we start taking damage already. There's a Marine directly behind us. Which is great. Great spawning. To start us off with this fucking thing. Which is mostly completely useless. Get a load of these textures, by the way. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. This is literally headache-inducing. You could feasibly get a fucking migraine from this. Who thought this was a good idea? Like, honestly. And there's no landmarks. You can't make out any landmarks here. There's no, like, props or anything. It's just this texture forever. Unless we venture into this hallway here. There we go. We've escaped the texture hell. Part 2. I bet we're gonna have to do the airlock business again. So yes, the Predator starts off with melee weapons. We do get this neato cloak though, if I can remember how to bring that up. There we are. So we have our cloak, which makes us invisible, but if we use it, it slowly drains our honor, which I don't even know there's an indicator for our honor anywhere on our heads-up display. Is there? I don't see it. Now, for all this heads-up display, for as big as it is, and for as much of a screen as it takes up, still not very clear what anything it's supposed to be indicating is. Which seems like a major fucking flaw. Anyway, you can sort of kind of make out if I stand next to a wall or something that the next weapon we unlock is the boomerang, I think. I don't know what order you actually unlock those in. Eventually we get a ranged thing. Eventually we get a bit of a ranged option. But until then, we have to prove ourselves worthy by getting a bunch of melee kills. Is this the way we came? Is this just the way we came? I can't tell, because everything looks the same. Pretty sure this is progress. God, I hope so. Hey, buddy. Like, you don't have any other option except to trade blows with this. Oh. I tried pressing 5 because I thought this might be something. I'm not actually sure what I'm doing here. You know, I think it might actually be a stim bag. I think it might actually be health regeneration. Look at all these barrels, man. You know what? I don't even care if this is gonna blow me to hell. Aw, man, I was kind of hoping that'd blow everything up. Well, I'll keep trying then, because I see Marines on the other side of this room. They don't see me, though. I wonder if they can blow up the barrels. Yes, they can. Ah, but they didn't kill any of them still. Come on already. Fuck up. Be responsible for your own demise, damn it. There we go. I think that one gibbed himself. Nice and good. Oh my god, look how many Marines there are! Fuck this! I'm cloaking and I'm getting the fuck out of here. Except now if I kill them, I'll lose honor, which means that we'll be even further away from unlocking the actual weapon. Jesus Christ, this move gives me a fucking headache too. No way to dodge that. No way to avoid, like, taking the damage from that. No other weapon to switch to. No nothing. I can't even get these guys to infight each other, I don't think. No monster infighting here. This is just exciting, compelling fucking gameplay, isn't it? Oh, game over. Simulation terminated. Yeah, that was fair. That was fucking fair. Well, that was certainly something. That's Alien vs. Predator. This is the game that enabled Rebellion to keep on making games. This is the game that people claim was the best game for the Atari Jaguar. And you know what? Don't think I see it. What I see are the beginnings of a company that has continued to produce nothing but pure, unadulterated fucking trash for decades and is still allowed to exist. I mean, you look at this game and you look at the Alien vs. Predator we opened up with, and honestly, what's changed? The graphics, obviously, sure. Grant you that. Things have become slightly more complex. You have wall running, but, like, mechanically speaking, there's still entire gameplay is based entirely around enemies that sneak up behind you without any real audio cues. You have your motion tracker there. Yeah, so actually, to be fair, yeah, maybe a lot has changed. I don't know what point I'm trying to make now. The point I'm trying to make is that they're still making bad games. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that these games still haven't gotten better with time. They're still fucking lousy. That's all. That's the point I want to make. Alien vs. Predator. Not a good game. And none of these games we played today are very good. I wouldn't play them if I were you. If you really need like your Alien vs. Predator fix, the second game is still your best option, AVP 2. Which I believe is by Monolith, who made such actual bona fide classics as No One Lives Forever. So, I mean, if there's a name you can trust, it's going to be them. Play that game. That game's actually fucking great. Any other good Alien games? No, I guess not. Maybe that arcade game is fine if you like beat-em-ups. I don't. They're all the same game, basically. To me. The NES game? No, the NES game is really lousy. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess you got AVP 2 then. I guess that's your option. I guess that's your option there. So enjoy that shit, I guess. I've heard some people claim that the remake of this game, the actual remake, the one we played at the beginning, that was the reboot. There's a remake of this particular game called AVP 2000, also by Rebellion, so I'm not going to trust that. I'm not going to trust that that game has anything going for it either. But, decide for yourself.